Hey everyone, welcome to the Leader's Edge. I'm your host, Steve Steele, where we dive into insights and principles that will supercharge your leadership and ignite your personal growth. Now, whether you're a budding entrepreneur, a leader navigating change, or even a seasoned pro, this show is for you. Each episode is packed with practical strategies designed to elevate your mindset and apply your leadership impact. So get ready for actionable tips that can help you can put into practice immediately. And a huge shout out to all of our amazing listeners. Thank you for your unwavering support. Let's get started and unlock your true potential. Today we have a special guest. My guest today is a Maxwell Leadership Certified Speaker, Coach, and Trainer. She is certified in Human Behavior Consultant, author, and founder of the Next Generation Empowerment. With more than 2 decades of experience in leadership, personal growth, and family empowerment, she is passionate about helping parents maintain influence during their critical teen years by building stronger connection, communication, and trust within the family. Through her speaking, her coaching, and training, she equips parents, educators, and youth leaders with practical tools to bridge the growing gap between adults and the next generation. Her work has impacted families in schools and churches and organizations all across North America and Africa, helping people understand personality differences, communicate with confidence, and resolve conflict with passion. A wife of more than 2 decades and a mother of 3, including 2 young adults and a teenager, she speaks from both professional expertise and lived experience. She is the author of Practically Connected Parenting and Unlocking the Parent-Teen Code. Her message is simple. When families choose connection over control, they build legacies that last for generations. Welcome from the green room, my friend and wonderful coach, Remi Ayodele. It's so awesome. Oh, you're here.
Thank you, Steve, so much. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, we planned this a long time ago, and I'll tell you, it is so amazing to have you. And I've done other work on Dr. Kuko's platform and different things. We've had time that we've shared together, and I have been so excited about this show today. And just recently, it's really become more personal to me, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But I'll tell you, Coach Remi, I'm just fascinated by this book, Unlocking the Parent-Teen Code. Wow, it's packed full of strategies. And so I want to get into that, but in a little bit. But first, before we do, let's kind of start from the beginning. I want to know where you grew up. Let's let our people know who you are, where you grew up, and a little bit what led you into this, because I know that you have a background that I think is really, really interesting. So kind of share with us a little bit how it all got started.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach Steve. Thank you for having me. And to our viewers, thank you so much for joining us. So my name is Remi Ayodele, and I was born in Nigeria, West Africa, and to a family of 7 in total. So 5 children and our parents, and we're from the Yoruba tribe, western part of Nigeria as well. So that's the family I grew up in. It's a Christian home, and my parents believed so much in education. My mother is an educator, and my father also was an educator and then went into his career and went to get on his PhD. So they really promote education to all of us, the children. And, when we were teenagers, my dad used to pay us to read. So
is that right? How much did you get paid? How much did you get paid?
I think it depends on his mood.
Depending on his mood?
You have to read and review the book, though. So you can't just say I read. Yeah. So you read a book and you review it, and then you get some extra pocket money.
Yeah, so, my dad did the same thing with me. But it was not books. It was cassette tapes on motivational speakers. He would give me, and he would pay me to listen to Earl Nightingale and some of those old timers, and it was really awesome. But yeah, I get it. I understand.
Yes, so for me, when you were talking about the career I had before what I'm doing right now, so I went on to study electrical electronics engineering,
Mhm.
and so that was my background. And so soon later, I got married and immigrated to United States. So my husband and I, my husband of more than 2 decades, we've been raising our 3 children. So that transition was a culture shock on its own. We've been able to adjust and adapt. And the reality of it is that my motivation actually came one from raising my own children to
Yeah, right.
transition into this new career because one, we were navigating a new culture. So I
I
wanted
was
to
going
be
to say,
present.
I was going to
Yes.
say that coming from Africa, the culture is so much different than when you are catapulted into the United States. I mean, can you tell us what some of those major culture differences are that you
Well,
saw when you were saying, "Oh, we're going to have to make a change here"?
yes. So first of all, in Nigeria, growing up, you had a community that surrounded you, that helped you raise children, that you did life together. And this is hindsight now looking, and that's a communal environment and culture. But America at large is more of an individualistic culture. So that one alone helped me see that I really need to be present at home. I couldn't just give my children over to the education system and call it a day. And
Hmm.
so it's helped me to be very hands on. And because I didn't have a community here, I started building my own community. I started by reading books on parenting, and then I joined women's group. I remember one was a very multicultural group. There was a woman from Germany, another from Austria, another is an African American, one other one. So from her parents are from half Filipino and half African American. So we had this multicultural conversation going on, helping each other raise our children. So that was very helpful in the formative years of my children. And so that helps us to know that the connection has to be real
Yeah,
for us
because I
to reach.
bet all of those particular people had different ways in their culture of how their children were raised. And now they're over here in the United States, and it's a totally different kind of culture than what they're used to or how they were raised.
Yes.
So now all of a sudden you've got this, well, how do we do this together as a community? Right?
Yes, yes. And it was enriching, yes, like you said, to hear all these people from different background on how to raise children. And one other thing that, just stood out to me is they would talk about teenage years as if it's a it's a year to watch out for, as if and
Oh,
so for
yeah.
me, I'm like, what is it? I mean, so they started talking about because I'm from Nigeria, so I don't hear this type of
Yeah,
language.
you didn't expect that. I mean, that was something you didn't
No,
have there so much. Right.
no, they would say like terrible twos. And
Uh-huh.
then before you know it, they start saying terrible teens. Wait
Oh
until they're
my
teenagers. I'm
gosh.
like, okay, what am I supposed to be bracing myself up for?
Wow.
And so
I can imagine how you felt. Yeah.
Ye- yeah, so I really that sent me reading a lot. And you know something, Coach Steve, it now took me back to my years in college.
Mm.
I now started connecting some dots because I was serving as like a welcome team on our fellowship. And we would welcome freshmen every year, and they would come in with all these good morals from home, well behaved, and all that. But I always noticed something happened by the second year. Peer pressure has taken over. For one, many of them stopped showing up in fellowship. Many of them stopped just being part of a community, and they went into casual dating. They joined all
Mm.
these clubs. And so I kept wondering what happens in the first year that just changes everything by the end of that school year. And for me, that dot I started to connect was maybe as parents, we must allow our children to own those family values before they leave home so that at the first taste of freedom, they don't just throw it away as if, oh, that's my mom's thing or my dad's thing. It becomes self leadership that they can carry on into adulthood and not be derailed by peer pressure. So, between all these terrible teens and those stories in my mind, I started connecting the dots. And that's why I transitioned into what I do, that we have a window of opportunity of direct parenting that we must harness as parents to pass on these values, virtues to our children to become their own so that they can use it to lead themselves in the future.
Coach Remi, I have heard that there are certain set, and I think you even mentioned a few things in your book, but certain levels, like between 1 and 2 or 2 and 3, 4, by the age 7, they've got a lot of the programming that's already in them. And that is there certain ages that teens or children go through as they're growing? Can you tell us what some of those are? Of what we can look for as parents or as grandparents as our kids begin to grow up. From like, I've got a 3-year-old grandson. His name is, I'm not going to say his name. I was going to say his name, but I'm not going to say his name. But he is off the charts. I mean, he's so lovable and so much fun, and he has so much energy. But boy, I'll tell you, he's off the charts. You got to be on him. I know he's 3. I get that. But are there certain ages that kids are transitioning through? Are there certain things that you see as parents you can recognize?
So every stage is different. So 0 to 5 is that age where they can absorb everything like a sponge. So we need to pay attention. Those are the years to read a lot to them, a lot with them, and take them on experiences. Like for me, we never missed story time in the library during those years for my children. And you can borrow up to 14 or 21 books at a time. And so I ensured we read a lot and visit places, go to the zoo, go to the park, just help them connect with their environment because they are learning so much between that age 0 to 5. And they're depending on you as a parent to really connect with them, to look them in the eye and tell them that they are safe here.
Yeah.
So we need to be very, very hands-on those 0 to 5.
So many kids are on, even at that age, are on phones and iPads already. Right? I mean, I see my little grandson Silas. He likes watching those iPad things. We don't get the phone much, but he gets the iPad a lot. I'm like, good Lord, right?
Yes. Well, that's the digital world we're living in now.
Yeah.
That one, we cannot take it away. But I'm going to call on parents to not give it to them all day. Because we're beginning to read research that shows how the fastness of the iPad and all the things they watch is rewiring their brain differently, which it will be impacting their attention span and their sense of being able to be creative and comprehend things when they have all these images moving so fast. So we need to redirect them back to things that are not that fast. Like my son, even though he's almost 13, I tell him for every hour you have to do anything on your device, you need an hour off the screen. Yeah. So I have stacks of books. I said you can choose from these books to read. He likes to play basketball. Go outside and shoot some basketball. Anything to take them off the screen. And like I say, for children, hand-eye coordination at that age is so powerful. We do not want to miss that window and just hand them an iPad. Writing skills, Legos, things that make them use their hands and coordinate with their, go to the park and throw balls with them. Anything that will help them to coordinate eye and hand is very essential in building attention span.
And that's 1 through 5. That's just 1 through 5.
That is just 1 through 5, yes. And so from 6 to 11, that's when they're like in kindergarten, first grade, all the way to 6th grade. What I noticed with parents and with myself inclusive is that is when they have a lot of extracurricular activities. Pee-wee soccer, pee-wee basketball, swimming. We have so many things. So we begin to run all over the place. They're in school all day. After school, we're going for these activities. We have to engage them in conversation because they're absorbing so much information. They need us to interpret those information to them in real life scenario. So if they watch all these shows, then we have to tell them how it actually happens in real life. That's why some of those old shows that tells kids how a family dynamic works is more beneficial than one that just entertains them
Yeah.
on end.
Andy Griffith, those kind of shows. I mean, what is that one on the prairie? I forgot what it was. Little House on the Prairie. I mean, those kind of shows, right?
Yes, those kind of shows. I know they're old school. In fact, I like Caillou too, because it tells he shows emotions, he shows what he's going through and things like that. I also like Berenstain Bears. It tells them navigating peer pressure, auditioning for sports. So the real life things that happen that families can actually talk about, not some abstract things that does not happen in real life. So because real life things help them build that vocabulary, relationship skills, dynamics within their peers as well as with their family members.
Yeah, so that's age just 6 through 11. Now what happens after that?
Okay, so up till this age 0 to 11, they still look up to you, they still trust you, they still depend on you. But once puberty hits,
new world.
Now they have a mind of their own because their brain is beginning to grow at an astronomical age. Now they want to test everything that you're giving to them. So guess what? That is the time to move your hat from being the one that is telling them what to do to begin to become a coach, guiding them in what to do and helping them navigate all the lessons you have been teaching them.
And that's where we get into unlocking the Parent-Teen C.O.N.N.E.C.T Code, right? Yes. Wow, that is amazing. So I want everybody to take a look at the book. I'm going to put it up here on the screen real quick. You can get this on Amazon. Is that right?
Yes.
You get it on Amazon, and it's unlocking the Parent-Teen C.O.N.N.E.C.T Code. And I think it says 7 keys to building lasting legacy. So lock onto this book, guys. Lock onto this book. I think you'd really, really enjoy it. So, Coach Remi, we're going to get into the book a little bit more because I know you have a lot of, I don't know what you're going to bring, but I know what you're going to bring is going to be freaking awesome because I've read some of your book, and I'm not telling you what, there's a lot of amazing things in there. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. And when we return, we'll jump into unlocking the Parent-Teen Code with Remi Ayodele. We'll be right back to the Leader's Edge. Are you ready to elevate your organization with a team of transformational leaders? Do you want to attract and nurture top talent while enhancing communication and productivity across generations? Hi, I'm Steve Steele, co-host of The Leader's Edge, and your coach with the Maxwell Leadership Team. My program equips leaders with essential skills and resources to lead, coach, and communicate effectively, ensuring everyone thrives. With tailored insights and proven strategies, I'm here to help your entire organization succeed. So reach out today at growthinleadership@gmail.com or visit johncmaxwellgroup.com/Steve Steele. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Leader's Edge. I'm Steve Steele, your host, with our special guest today, Coach Remi Ayodele. Coach Remi, thank you for that beautiful first segment. I really loved how you talked us through some of the stages of young people, children, all the way up to I think you said middle school. I mean, all the way up to middle school, which would be in the 6th to 7th grade. Is there anything after that you want? I mean, after you get to age 11, what happens then?
Okay, so what you haven't taught up till that age 11, you want to quickly teach it between age 11 and 13, because that is your real last window of them still listening fully. Because that is middle school. So they still listen. If you want to have training with them, they will still pay attention. It will still be you coaching, mentoring them. Because once they hit high school, age 14, late 13, 14, there's a whole new world that they're navigating. Now they begin to think about, what will I do with my life? Who am I? Where do
Oh,
I
yeah.
belong? What difference can I make? So there's this going on in their brain. And because now it counts down to graduation, believe you, believe you
Mm,
or not. So they have a whole dynamics they are dealing with that becoming a mentor to them
mhm.
means you have to earn their trust, because now they begin to test which adult is trustworthy, which adult has my back. Even if you're their
So,
parent, they want to know that they're safe with you in emotionally and intellectually
so
as
what
well.
you're saying to me is you're a teen is watching you and making judgments of how every adult in their life, not just your parents, but every adult in their life, they're making judgments on how that adult will respond to them or how they can make a connection with them. But they don't think connection, do they? Or do
They're
they?
not thinking connection, they're thinking trust.
Trust.
Can I trust you with my emotions? Can I trust you when I
Wow.
fail? Do you judge me or do you give me grace? Do you, because this is what I'm noticing with my coaching with families
Hmm.
is that parents, as many of us are so concerned about our children behaving well, which is rightly so, but it makes us always want to control the situation, correct the behavior, make them line up, behave well. I'll tell you a story. So
Yes.
one day from my son, he had homework to do. He told me, "Wow, mom, I'm done with my homework." So that night he went to youth group. He forgot there were two English homework. So by morning, he woke up early, 6 a.m. for basketball practice. And then by the time he came back, getting ready for school, he suddenly realized he had two English homework due. So what would I do as a parent? I also had an appointment right that morning. So you can imagine the tension in
Hmm.
not getting him to school on time, and I don't want to be late for my own appointment. So the first thing I did was what we parents always do, that discipline. Why did you forget your homework? You should be more responsible.
Oh my goodness. Yes. 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 I think we
And
all would do that. Yeah.
that is when, I realized that was the wrong road. He's
Mhm.
already under stress. I'm already getting almost late. That was a coaching moment, not a controlling moment. And so I dropped him off at
Oh,
school. I went to my appointment. It was later thinking through, and that is what I share in my book. Observe what's beneath the iceberg. Because most times we parents, we're responding not just to the situation our children are in, we're responding to our own personal pressure as well. If I didn't have an appointment to be at, I would not be under that pressure. And you know that we all have somewhere to be every morning. So there's the tendency for us to be on the edge every morning if we do not look beneath the iceberg and see, wait a minute, this is not just about my child, it's about my own emotional situation or the challenges of my job, financial stress. It can be anything else that is going on with you as a parent, not just with the child. So that is why just that thinking through helped me to reset. And that's the second key in the connect, the O
yeah.
part that says,
Oh, part. Yeah.
observe what's beneath the iceberg so that we are not just controlling the situation. Because if we keep controlling the situation, we're only going to raise compliant kids, not confident
Oh my
leaders.
gosh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I love that. We're going to raise compliant kids, not
Confident
confident.
leaders.
Oh my God, that is amazing. Because I could be, if I really am honest with you, I look back at raising my kids. I think I could. I tried to raise compliant kids. Now I was very fortunate. My son turned out to be good men, and God was with them. And I had must have done some things right. But I will tell you, I look back and I'm thinking I was more compliant than I was confident building. Oh my gosh, coach. I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing. Below the iceberg. Wow.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
the other thing is, so for going back to what teenagers are experiencing, they are trying to build trust so they can connect with you as their parent, so that whatever happens out there in the world, they have a trusted person to come and talk to. And if we're not paying attention, the disconnection can happen so easily. For example, this analogy also helped me explain this point. We were on vacation one time in London, and the underground trains. So we had just arrived at the stop. We were going to be visiting the Buckingham Palace that day, and so my older daughter was out. I was out with my son, and I looked back. My other daughter was still in the train. The issue is the train door just shut. And yes, my face and I screamed. I was praying and screaming at the same time, and miraculously the door opened. I lunged forward and pulled her out and squeezed her so tight, and that disconnection was very scary. And my host said, Remi, if she was gone, you would have to contact the last train station. I'm like, no, that's just too scary. But that's a way disconnection can just happen, even with our teenagers. When we lose touch with their emotions, when we lose touch with their growth, when we lose touch with their sense of wanting autonomy, now that they're approaching adulthood, if we keep holding on to control and taking the low road. So that is why I always like.
So you're saying control is the low road. Is that what you're saying?
It is the low road. And I got that concept from one of my mentors, Dr. John C. Maxwell. And in his book, High Road Leadership, he explained that each time we have that control for our children, we take the low road because we complain about what they're not doing right. We complain about them slacking. That is the low road of parenting. And because parenting is influence, the low road does not influence positive character.
Wow.
Dr. Maxwell also talked about like the middle road, where we remind them of all the ways they have failed in the past. That's how you always do this. You forgot this, the other day, you forgot this. That's like payback mode. That's like middle road. But the high road is calling on their excellence, calling out their potential, and telling them you're a self-leader. For example, yesterday I had a load of laundry basket sitting on the stairway, and my son is about to go upstairs. So I said, son, did you see that basket? He said, yes. I said, law number one, be proactive. What would proactive do into that situation?
Yeah.
He said, take it upstairs.
They're not dumb. They're smart kids. They're smart.
So yes, high road helps us to call on their smartness, call on their potential, so that they can self-correct. That is how we're going to build self-leaders in our homes.
Well, I will tell you that when you're in that middle road or you're on that low road, and you're constantly complaining about what your team's doing or what they're not doing, it's constantly you are destroying that trust. You're eating away at that constantly. And that's why as parents, that it's so important. I love what you said, taking that high road as Dr. Maxwell teaches. That is just simply amazing. So C is connect, O is observe the iceberg. What is the N?
Oh, the first N is you have to navigate the growth, because there's one thing that parents do. Every teenager grows at their own pace. So if you do not know what stage of growth your teenager is, you'll be comparing them with another teenager or with one of your other children. For example, for me, I've raised 2 young adults now. So there's the tendency to remember where my first daughter was and start comparing my second daughter and say, you don't do this like your sister. So we have to understand what stage of growth is the child I am raising, so I can meet them where they are and not put on a standard that they cannot meet, because that's not their own time or that's not their own time clock. So it is important. So, and then the 2 ends, right? So the next second end is nurture. Nurturing is where you turn discipline to mentoring. I use the word
Love that.
discipline and discipleship because they have the same root word, and essentially it is learning, teaching them how to become self-learners. So again, let's go back to control. When we use the discipline side of our parenting, it is to make them align with our standards, with our values. We're always calling them out. But when we add the discipleship and balance it, it is showing them. In my book, I gave this illustration. It's like the difference between a referee and a coach. So my husband, he used to play soccer back home in Nigeria. And so you know how the referees are. They're always blowing whistle for a foul and giving out green cards. That is what we can do as parents if all we do is that discipline we keep whipping out. But I played tennis when I was growing up. That's what my coach does. When I don't get the forehand well, he comes and adjusts my hand so I can get a good swing on my forehand. A coach will always come and readjust for you so you can get the right swing. So that's how parents, if you want to just do the discipline part, you're always going to be a referee. But if you want to be a coach, you have to learn how to redirect and help them actually master the skill you're trying to teach them.
Coach Remi, discipline versus discipleship. If you have a child that's over-disciplined, what are you looking at in that child?
Two things will happen. They would resent it all the way.
Yeah.
Because they will not feel they can do anything right.
Will they shut down?
They will shut down, and honestly, you lose the window of connection to actually even now teach them what you want to teach them. So I usually, there's a story, I'm bringing out so many, so there's a story.
I love it. Stories are
there's
great.
a story I have in my book. When I was growing up, when I was in college, we didn't have cell phones back then. And so to talk to my mom, I have to go to this rotary phone where you have to dial and then you have this sound going on. And sometimes the line will cut off even before I even come on. So I have to keep trying. And even in today's technology, because she lives in Nigeria, I use WhatsApp. I know many people use WhatsApp.
I use it. Yeah.
But there's something that happens in WhatsApp in the house. The reception is poor in one place and better in another place. So she has to look for the right location at home. So sometimes she didn't even hear half of the things I'm saying.
Right.
Because it starts saying reconnecting, right? So I just cut that line off, and there's a line that I pay called Vonage. That one I can call her and I have no disconnection. So this is the cost of trying to use discipline all the time. All you can start getting is reconnection. They're not even hearing what you're saying. That you're trying to reconnect. But when you pay the price of discipleship, now you can talk to them without any break in communication, and they're more open to listen.
Can you disciple them too much?
You can't disciple them too much. But again, you don't want the pendulum to swing only to that side.
You want a balance.
You want a balance.
I love that. And that's sometimes difficult to know what that balance is. Can you give us any type of recommendation of what true balance looks like? I mean, how would I know if I'm in balance?
So one thing, that is where I use the human behavior to come in, and whenever I'm working with my own children or with my clients, because when you know the child, you will know how to balance discipleship with discipline. For example, if you have a dominant child, you know that child needs control and that child needs choices. So the discipline is put the guardrails there. The discipleship is give them options within your guardrails. So that is how you achieve balance with that child.
I love it. So we have connect, observe the iceberg, navigate growth, nurture, and then we have the E. What is the E?
E is embrace the differences in culture.
Culture. Okay.
In culture, yes. You know why this is so important? Because teenagers have a different culture from adults. So
The teen culture.
the teen culture.
I got you. Okay.
So you cannot say this is how it was done when I was growing up. So it must be done.
How many times did I hear that growing up?
So you have to tune into their own culture as well and understand how to navigate it. For example, music culture. When my son said he wanted rap music, I knew that rap music, most of them you don't even hear what they're saying. So I had to help him find a rapper that had values that I wanted him to emulate. So instead of just shutting it up and say this rap music is bad, find the one that actually would emulate the values you want to imbibe in your child, so that you don't just dismiss it. You're a present and engaged parent. So that's teen culture. But when it comes to those of us that are multicultural, again, when you're raising children overseas, in diaspora, as an immigrant, you have to tune into the culture your child is living in. It's different from the culture you were raised in. So those children are the third culture kids who have to navigate your culture as a parent and the culture you're raising them in. So you have to raise them with grace and help them embrace the two worlds they have to live in daily.
Well, Coach Remi, we have about a minute and a half here. Can we get to the next C real quick?
Oh, we have to close the generational gap. So don't tell. Yeah, that's the one you want to really pay attention to, because I'm a Gen X and I'm raising Gen Z. So that generational gap, you have to take the strength from each generation and blend it together in order to have trust in the family.
Okay, well, I think I want to come back to that a little bit. So I think we're going to take a quick commercial break, because I think I want to come back to the generational gap, and I want to talk about that. And I want to also talk about the last T. And then I really want to talk about what you call in your book, the secret language of connection. I want to talk about that as well. So we'll be back to the Leader's Edge in just a few minutes. So give me a couple, actually, probably about 30 seconds or so. We'll get back to Coach Remi Ayodele.
All right, podcasters, let's be honest for a second. If your show sounds like it was recorded inside of a tin can, in your cousin's basement, in a van down by the river with your dog barking in the background, it's time for an upgrade. That's where 216 Creator Studios comes in, the home of real production, real people who actually know what all those shiny buttons do. They've got pro mics, top-tier editing, and lighting that makes everyone look like they slept 8 hours, even if you didn't. Whether you're just starting out or you've been podcasting since people were still saying, smash that like button, give me a thumbs up. 216 Creator Studio helps you sound crisp, confident, and ready for the big leagues. So stop recording in your car, stop arguing with your USB mic, and get into 216 Creator Studios, where your podcast finally sounds as good as you think it does.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Leader's Edge. I'm Steve Steele, your host, with our special guest today, Coach Remi Ayodele. Coach Remi, we talked about, in that last segment, about the 7 different, actually, we didn't get to all of them yet. We're going to get to 2 more. But we talked about the C in connection, which meant connect, right? The O is observe the iceberg. And I love that, because the iceberg is so much underneath that. We have to really look there. Then N, navigate growth. The second N is nurture. And the E is embrace differences. And you were talking about cultural differences, right? Yes. Because our teens have different culture than we do as adults. Yes. I get that. I really do. Because it's 2 different worlds. It really is 2 different worlds. And then we talked about the next C, which is close the gap. Can we talk about that a little bit more? Because you said that you were raising a Gen Z and you are a Gen X.
Gen X.
Tell us a little bit, because I've got some, my family, I got the same thing going on. I've got some alphas in my family, actually. So, talk to us about closing that gap.
So if you're going to close that gap, the quickest and easiest way is to not see any generation as a deficit, to constantly look for the strength that they bring to the conversation. I'll tell you, even though my background is electrical engineering, but it's different from navigating the technology that is being used today. So one of those days was my daughter always helped me when I go for a conference, and this particular year she was not home, and I had to connect my devices, have the overhead. I was training, it was a youth conference, and I arrived there and there was no tech support. I did all I could and I couldn't figure it out. I had to FaceTime her from school to help me figure this thing out before the students arrived in. So that's Gen X, they're digital natives. Gen Z, they're digital natives.
Oh, it
You know,
is.
so they can help you figure things out quickly. So as parents, whatever is the difference we have between the next generation, let's begin to look for the strengths that we can bring together so we can maximize it. That way, we will not be so focused on the differences that causes the conflict between each one of us. So,
And that goes for really any generation, because Coach Remi, I'm even further back generation than even you are. You know, I'm way back there. I'm a baby boomer, right? So I've got little grandsons that are 7 years old and that are 3 years old, and so I can tell immediately. My little grandson the other day, he's got a channel on YouTube. He's 7. He's got his own channel, and he wanted me to join and subscribe. I'm telling you, it's crazy. I mean, that's freaking crazy to me. It takes everything I can just to get the Leader's Edge on, and he's doing he did a whole channel himself, and he's got subscribers, and he's helping other kids get channels, and it's amazing.
That is amazing. Yes,
it's amazing. He's 7 years old, and he's doing that. And it's crazy to me. And I guess even if it doesn't matter which generation you're in, you have to go to the strengths, of that particular generation, and they are a digital world.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. So closing the gap. Okay, so next T.
Yes, you have to thrive together, and that is the secret to effective communication. Begin to understand their personalities. So if they are dominant style, don't go into this argument for control. Whether they're 50 or 5, if they're a dominant style, they want control. So put the guardrails, like I said earlier, but give them options within your guardrails so that they still know they are in charge of the decision. And if you have the influencing child, they want to have fun. They might forget to do a few things. So give them checklists so that way you are calling on their strengths. When they check off those lists, it gives them a sense of accomplishment. And if you have a steady child who doesn't say anything, you ask for their opinion, they just say whatever. Don't just say whatever. Talk to them one-on-one. They're more willing to open and talk to you that way. And don't spring up a change on them. The steady children, they like consistency, they like routine. So you have to really connect with them on that level. And you have a conscientious child who likes everything done right and perfectly. You can't hurry them because they want to do a perfect job. And if you don't know the answer, don't wing it. Just tell them I don't know, because they will soon find you out. Those are the children that ask you questions. So be patient with their questions and answer it. If you don't know the answer, tell them you'll get back to them, but don't wing it, and don't say, there's something that parents used to say, because I said so. Won't work. It won't work for this new generation. They want you to dialogue with them. Like I said at the beginning, they're absorbing so much information. They need us to be patient to help them interpret those information.
I had someone tell me one time that when you're in a relationship with an individual, and it really doesn't matter whether it's parent-child or it's friend to friend or it's boss to employee, the person with the most influence in the relationship has the most responsibility in the relationship.
Yes.
And as a parent, as a grandparent, we have the most responsibility in the relationship of those children to ensure that those children are getting the needs met that they need to be able to have a wholesome growth, wholesome life. And it's our responsibility. It's not the child's responsibility. It's our responsibility. I think we see that just by and large. I think parents understand it. Yeah, I'm the one responsible. But are you really getting into the right places, right? And I noticed you said you showed the DISC analysis, DISC. And so which is a Maxwell tool, and it's used in other areas too. But I know we use it in the Maxwell. And you're a consultant DISC.
Yes.
Now, is there a DISC for children?
Oh, yes.
Uh-huh.
There is DISC for children. So there's DISC for elementary age, there's DISC for middle age, and I like the one for the high schoolers. Also, it helps them discover where their strength leaning to as far as career choices comes in, as far as communication comes in, so they can choose the right friends and the right environment that helps them thrive. And if for little kids, there's a way we can use this because you have a story. So by the time you tell them the story, they'll begin to tell you, okay, this is how I behave on the playground. This is how I behave in school. You begin to kind of put them into this kind. Oh, okay, so this must be your personality, and so helping them navigate it. Because like you said, Coach Steve, leadership begins in the living room, not in the boardroom.
Oh, yes, it does.
And because we, the parents, are the ones with the influence, leadership is influence. So in order to maintain that influence, we need to build that trust so that way we have that inroad to guide them as leaders. And leaders are the ones that know the way, go the way, and show the way. So we want to take on that leadership, lead with love, lead with empathy at home, so that we can actually raise leaders who would go out into the world and be more effective as well.
Right. As a coach, Coach Remi, do you have the DISC analysis that you could give parents or that you could have them take so they could get to know their child's personalities better? Can they get in touch with you and find out that kind of information?
Oh, yes. I do that all the time. I call it Parent-Teen coaching. And that's where both of them find out their personality and begin to see the differences that may have been causing conflict within them. In fact, one family especially, one time I was coaching, the mom was steady and the daughter was dominant. So by the time they found out, the daughter was in tears and apologizing because she saw the mom was trying to nurture, but she was trying to gain her freedom and make decisions herself. So I told the mom, put the guardrails, give her the choices that will still align with your values. But that part helps her to make the choice herself, even though it's one of the choices you've given her. So that understanding really bridged the gap of connection between the parent and the teenager.
I think that's so important that you give them the options and that you give them the options or the guardrails that align with your values. Because you can throw all kinds of options out there, but if it doesn't align with your values or your God-given values of what your family is, then that's not going to work. It's not going to work. That is, that's beautiful. I love that. So, Coach Remi, I want to talk about the secret language of connection, because let me tell you why. I was telling you before the show started, we were kind of talking online with our producer, and I went through a situation this week that I didn't never think I was going to face. I mean, I really didn't see it coming. It kind of was blindsided us. It blindsided me more than anybody probably. But I have a 14-year-old grandson whom I love deeply. I love him deeply. He's a quiet child. He is not one that's, he plays a lot of sports and loves sports, but he's quiet. He's not one that voices his opinion, but he will at times when he gets frustrated, he'll act out some things, but as most children do, but we were faced with a situation that was a life-changing thing that catapulted something that I never really ever thought would happen. And that is that we were called to the hospital on Tuesday, and at 14 years old, my grandson lost his mother. And it was a hard thing to watch him go through. Now, I've lost family members. I lost a brother a few weeks ago. So I know what it feels like. I understand the feeling behind that loss. But to watch my grandson at 14 years old go through this and to see the bravery and the courage that he had in front of the family as she passed on, he was holding her hand. And I saw when she took her last breath, he noticed that as well. We all did. Then the tears began to flow. Coach Remi, as a grandfather, how do I connect with my grandson at that level, because that is a traumatic level in anybody's life. Even if they're 14, I just can't imagine what it'd be like. I mean, if you think about your own situation, you have a 13-year-old, right? Mm-hmm. How would you relate to them? Mm-hmm. How do you make that? What is that language of connection that you need?
Mm-hmm. Coach Steve, I'm so sorry to hear that. It's not something we are ever prepared for. And the 14-year-old, that is very heartbreaking at an age where he really needs his mom.
Yeah.
And so I'm sorry for that loss. And I pray for comfort for the family. Mm-hmm. To start connecting to that child.
Okay.
You just told me he's quiet.
Yeah.
So he must have a steady style.
Mm-hmm. I believe you're right.
You said he plays sports. Mm-hmm. So he must have some determination in him as well.
He does. He has a tremendous amount of determination.
So already he has that. When you notice disc, he crosses that line, the D and the S right here. Mm-hmm. And so the first way to start connecting with him is time. It's my first book, Practically Connected Parenting.
Yes.
Here I give you 21 ways to build that connection, to create timeless memories in the teen years.
Yes.
You begin to set dates with him, cook together, take a ride. Sometimes he will say nothing. Just be there. Just be there. Take a walk. Mm-hmm. Side by side is best for teenagers. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes they can't handle face-to-face because of the adult versus teenager authority situation.
I never thought of that before. That is so true. Side by side. Yeah. Side
by side. So taking a walk in nature helps him to just absorb the beauty of the environment. Mm-hmm. And cooking together will help him to just explore new recipes. Maybe his mom used to cook. That would help him to take on that role, something that would remind him of time together with her. Mm-hmm. Play board games. That will help him use his critical thinking. It can be chess. It can be just even a dice game, something that just helps him just engage in conversation. So essentially what you're trying to do is put him at ease so that he's free to talk when he feels like it. So these activities done together puts him at ease, and you will soon find which of those 21 activities or a different one that will make him feel comfortable just sharing. Like my daughter last night, she came to my desk here and she stayed there for a while. She knew I was preparing for this podcast. So I knew she wanted to talk. The minute she opened her mouth, I said, let's go to your room.
Oh, yeah.
And she was on her bed and we sat and I just listened. And so we had that conversation, even though it was past midnight. So you will know when they're ready to talk. You can't force it. But when you engage and give them enough of these activities together, you begin to see which one actually puts them at ease. And yes, it might be past midnight.
Yeah, it might be.
I was almost going to bed, but I'm like, okay, no, this is the moment. So I woke myself up to listen and have that conversation. That is our window of connection at this level.
Coach Remi, thank you for that moment of coaching to me. That was so beautiful. And I'm going to take your advice. I'm going to get that book as well. And I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it. Thank you so much for that. Coach Remi, our show is just about over. We have about 3 minutes here. Give me about a minute here where you just tell us how people can connect with you and how they can get your books. I mean, we've got the, Unlocking the Parent-Teen C.O.N.N.E.C.T Code. That's on Amazon. Can we get your other book on Amazon as well?
Yes, both books are on Amazon. And so they can find me on Amazon on my author's page, Remi Ayodele. They can also find me on my website, nextgenerationempowerment.com. So for those that are in the United States, they can get the book locally and I can autograph it. But sorry for you. Sorry for those who are not in the United States. You have to just get it on Amazon.
Right. Exactly.
And so, yes, but what I just said, let us maximize connection in the window of opportunity we have. For teenagers, it's only 7 years. But for our children, essentially, the window of direct parenting is age 0 to 18. And in some of my books, I help you understand what they need at each level so you can maximize connection that will build trust. Because essentially, as parents, we are their influencers, so to speak. If we get leadership right, we will raise confident leaders as well.
So beautiful, Coach Remi. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that inspiring episode. I absolutely loved it. I loved it. So next week on The Leader's Edge, get ready for an inspiring episode. I'm thrilled to welcome Crystal Latta, the dynamic owner of Fit Body Forever, a local premier gym here in the Fort Worth area. It's local. To join us as we dive into the world of fitness and discuss how we can take charge of our health and our wellness, be the leader of our own selves. The hardest person to lead is yourself. And just as a reminder, you can find The Leader's Edge on Apple Music, on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you find value in these conversations, please hit that subscribe or follow button to stay connected. And I want to say thank you to all of our listeners and friends, because without you, The Leader's Edge would not be possible. I'm so grateful to have you here and so excited to connect with you next time. So till next time, everyone, bye-bye.